The Grade Cricketer is a Twitter stream. It's about playing cricket at the grade level.
Boys! Get a few today, did you?
To be honest with you, I hate grade cricket.
I went into to play for a team called the name escaped me.
Obviously, sharing's always a big issue for young kids going into a senior cricket team.
Take it was like a witness league.
A bit of advice for the player. That's what I want.
I refer to the great cricketer here and I'll say, this'll do a little bit early.
Hello and welcome back to the Grade Cricketer. England-India third test starts on Headingley. We're previewing that. The 100 has been completed. The Southern Brave get it done for the men. The Oval Invincibles for the women. When will the Langer stuff go away? Will it ever go away? Will any of us go away? West Indies, Pakistan, Babar Azam in the runs, as is Fawad Alam, and they're all taking wickets. Kyle Jamieson. World Test Championship final, man of the match, person of the match, man of our hearts is on the show for the second time, but for the first time publicly. That will remain this episode, as they all are, brought to you by Budgie Smuggler. You can use the code CHAMP for free custom design. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry sits across from me, and I him. Pezzy lad, happy Monday to you, sir. Bit going on this week, heaps of stuff going on. The cricket's back and everything's back in our lives and it feels good, and COVID's over. Not here, it's not.
One of those things is different to the rest. Here goes breaking news that I'd like to share on the show. Comes in from an anonymous contributor. Mm-hmm. And of all the things that you mentioned, and they are all very important, I do believe, and I think you will agree, that this is more important. May I read?
Well, you don't speak for me, but yeah.
Dinesh Kartik playing today at Walmsley, says a poster to us.
Right.
Walmsley being the most beautiful and quintessentially English ground in the country today.
Need to look up what that is.
He walks out in his gold KKR helmet and his LBW third ball for 0. See you later. Now, I have no more information about this, but I felt it needed to be raised up the top because if anybody has any images or anecdotes or video about this, can you please share it with us? Because I'm sure everybody listening will agree that the optics on this are unbelievable. Can somebody please furnish us with an image? Just the image of Dinesh Kartik in a gold KKR helmet on a beautiful, quaint English ground. And then a third ball duck. Please.
At what point when you're packing your stuff to head overseas to do some comms work?
How does he... perfect question. How does he even have this lid?
Are you putting it on top? Is it like a metaphorical cherry on top? Or is it the first thing in the kit? First thing in the luggage? Because then you've got to pack it around like the bulbous shape of a lid. But it's maybe it's hand luggage.
Just
we're on another plane.
Just weight restrictions of luggage. Like, I better bring my lid.
Yeah. Because to pack a lid in your luggage, I'd probably have to like unscrew the grill because then you can pack it down a bit tighter.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
That's what I'd do if I was doing that.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions
if
there.
you're going to wear a gold lid. Now, we've spoken to other people in the past who've worn their IPL lids in club matches. Brad Hodge, obviously, hitting 6 for East Sandringham, one of the stronger clubs down here. Are they? I don't know.
Don't know.
On some Astro shit.
Like a good 6-sitting ground.
It is a good 6-sitting ground, yeah. Not even close.
Not even close.
With a gold lid at a village game, yeah, you have to score runs, but the right amount of runs. Because if he whacked 100, I don't know if he's got that kind of alpha.
Dinesh Kartik is a current player.
Yeah. So
it's not even. That's more than Brad Hodge.
Yeah.
Brad Hodge had retired.
He retired. Yeah.
Why has he brought his lid? But the thing, there's something about an IPL lid. They really went to the next level. They went to the next level with lids, didn't they?
Yeah. Because we've been crying out for years to bring back the yellow lid for the Australian team in the ODIs. Oh, yeah. But a gold lid, I mean, it's... Because so much of the IPL is focused around the income of the players.
It's shiny gold, isn't it?
And the celebrity owners, Bollywood, that kind of gear. So it's all just like glitz and glamour.
The meeting, the juxtaposition.
It's a juxtaposition.
Of old England.
Yeah. And new money.
And an IPL lid.
Gold.
Dinesh Kartik. And what a commentator.
Yeah.
So we keep being told.
Yeah. He wears good shirts. Good shirts.
Anyway, just wanted to raise that up top.
Okay, so the test match that finished last week was an absolute belter, and it sets up the series nicely here because England-India third test. Just before we get into that, we are going to do a live stream on Wednesday evening Australia time. That'll be Wednesday morning, day one of the
first session
of the third test match at Headingley. Set your clocks accordingly. That's going to be on YouTube, obviously. So that's day one, Wednesday. If you want to get around that, find us on YouTube. You know how to search the internet to do those things. And yeah, hopefully being a bit of lighthearted entertainment whilst enjoying this wonderful test match and this test series that is going on. Of course, we'll be doing the dailies on YouTube as well. You can get the audio exclusive for that at patreon.com/GreyCricketer. We can also find 54 episodes of #AskTGC Fridays. If that is your want, if that is your need, patreon.com/GreyCricketer. England, India, third test, Headingley. Obviously, Pez, what Jimmy Anderson would have said to Virat Kohli et al. Would have been, can't wait to get your Headingley. Or something like that.
I'm guessing that's what he said.
Now, England never lose there, except for the last 2 times when they've lost there, to Australia and to New Zealand. Do you remember that New Zealand series? Fuck me, that feels like it was in the mid-'80s.
I don't remember us beating them at Headingley.
Don't you?
Last time we were there with them.
What do you mean? It's Edgbaston. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have had fever dreams that have gone the other way.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Understandable. Totally understand. There was an alternate universe where I did black out and look at the screen and we'd won, but
Yeah, fuck. What I've just confused those two grounds.
Mate,
That's my mistake, and I've made an error.
listen, just on this game coming up, he goes, like, I realise this analysis has about as much intellect as a captain putting a fielder where the ball just went, but like, how does England do anything in this game if Joe Root doesn't score 200 runs?
Nate, yeah. Well, they've changed some players, I guess.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, well, Joe Root, first of all, he's number 2 in the batting rankings now.
Fuck, we put a lot in the batting rankings about that.
Yeah,
We've
when did
made
that become a thing?
Yeah,
When did
like
rankings
big
become
boy
a thing?
stuff is a joke, but
Yeah.
what's that?
Because Kane's number 1, and Kane feels good. And I kind of want to talk about this in a little bit in the sense of like Barbara Azam scored some runs or whatever the fuck, and then people are writing like, oh, is he the best batsman ever now or whatever. I think like if your team has to be like winning big games, big series. Obviously, Kane's done the business, and he scored runs in that final as well. But he's been great for 8. Now, Joe Root is in like
I don't think
maybe
Kane's number 1 either, by the way.
career best form. Yeah, no, neither do I. Like,
But it's not his fault. He's not allowed to be because he's not in the top 3 teams.
Yeah.
Doesn't play enough Test cricket.
No.
It's not his fault.
Especially
He may
away.
well be. We just will never know. So I cannot bestow upon him. If you're listening,
So
Kane,
unfair.
if anyone cares.
so
I know.
unfair.
He's the most dad dick of all time.
He averages like 130 in Test cricket. Nah, I'm not sure.
Nah, the beard. He's got everything. The whole thing.
Would he make it to the Australian team? I don't know.
It looks weird when New Zealand play Test cricket. Just the colours and the white, and it's no good.
Yeah. It's just no good. Anyway, so Joe Root's good, but you're right. Okay, so what they've done is Dom Sibley, gone. He's still alive. He's just out of the team. Milan in. Friend of the show. Well, they're both friends of the show. Milan in.
Mate,
So what does that mean?
I'll tell you what it means.
Has Stephen Mead opening Milan 3?
He's 3.
Right.
Milan's 3.
Joe Root 4.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
I feel like it doesn't matter.
Dawid
Titanic. That's what it feels like.
Well, Dawid Milan, it's a chiseled face.
Yeah, it's chiseled face.
It's a 3-day growth.
Yeah.
It's chest and pipes and lean muscle.
Yeah.
He's England via South Africa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's called AC.
What?
AC Milan.
Is that real or have you just made that up?
No, it's real.
Ah, okay. I wish you'd made that up.
And the thing I like about the selection is
AC Milan. Fucking hell. Okay.
he seems like enough of an individual Milan because he polarizes, obviously. Like
Yeah,
that he
how,
won't.
though?
I don't know.
It's the what's he like as a bloke thing.
He
is
what's
it?
he like as a bloke thing,
Yeah.
but England needs a what's he like as a bloke selection because he won't. His personality will be such that he won't get caught up in collapses. England's collapses at the moment, their entire batting unit is like one big collapse, apart from Joe Root.
Yeah.
And so now they need to bring in an outsider, abrasive personality to start dividing that up a little bit. Like not being one of the boys works for England and works for him in this situation. Like he's doing his own thing. Like that, none of that might be true. And statistically, he averages 27 in Test cricket. But
Yeah, stats are one thing, mate. What does he look like, though? The face.
England need a vibe selection.
They gotta do something.
He got a ton at the Wacker once.
Yeah.
And like, so that's going. He went to hell and got scary runs.
All right. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right type of run stuff.
Yeah.
Can runs be any more right than Wacker runs? As an Englishman. Sure, Headingley slightly different track.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was 4 or 5 years ago.
Or
but
Edgbaston, as I call it.
It's even longer. But that's where England are, and Milan coming in. Tell me if this is wrong, right?
Okay.
Like this isn't like bringing a bloke up from 2s to 1s or 3s to 2s. Like he's a new guy on the side. He's been doing well at training. This is a bloke who's not played for a couple of years. This is a guy who's gone and in grade terms, he's like created a career. He's built a corporate career.
Yeah.
He's been away.
T20 circuit.
Doing other stuff. Yeah, but stories of him are still told in the sheds, and you might have seen him around, at the ground or something. He comes with a coffee. He's got a little baby or something. He's looking good. He's looking fresher in the face because he's had a sleep in.
He looks happier. But
he comes and says good day to the president because he's mates with him because they played together.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just keeping a keen eye on things like, we're going to bring Dowd back in, for a game because he wants to have a game.
Yeah.
And you've heard stories about him, and stories. What about that? He scored runs at the Wacker and stuff. Bit of a rare unit. He's. I wouldn't say he's quite one of the boys. Can get. He's got a level to him, but you sort of brings a new energy. Like this new face walks into the dressing room.
Yeah,
you just wonder how it moves, how it talks,
right,
what it does. It's all a bit old school. You're a bit suspicious.
Yeah, it's kind of like Elon Musk's Tesla bot thing.
That's right.
They're just bringing that into the dressing room. What's this?
Yeah,
what's this new thing? Because they got a bit of a vibe going on there a little bit now. Because obviously, like Broad's out of the dressing room now because he's injured. And they've got Robinson in, got his own stuff going on. And they've got Bairstow back in there, more stories, more vibe. Now Milan, now it's like building a bit of a 2019, when was that? 2017.
Yeah.
2017. Fuck, it was a long time ago. Do you remember that? Used to be able to go to the games and stuff.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I sort of remember.
So I feel like it can work. I mean, it can't be any worse than what was currently going on.
That's right. They needed wholesale change. It's the same. Look, Mark Wood's in the squad, but he may or may
Probably
not be fit.
unlikely,
And so then it will be between Overton and Sakib Mahmood, who's come in.
Yeah.
Now, you've got to go for Mahmood there.
Rooster.
Just Rooster and novelty selection. More new movements
New
around
stuff.
the dressing room.
Something where like when the guy comes on the screen, change a bowler, and now we're into it because he's first game.
First
bit
game,
more excitement.
and you want to see how it moves.
Yeah, new move, white clothing, new
It
thing.
makes you feel different.
We've seen him play like 50 times for England, but it's different clothes now. It's a different clothes selection.
Like
They're going to get fucking pumped.
Mate, you know how
Indy's
good,
already picked that team.
You know how good India are.
Yeah.
They don't strike me as a complacency team. Like as a 1-0 up there. We've done what we need to do. Like not under Kohli. This is how good India are at the moment. He goes. Kohli is their political attack dog.
Yeah.
Kohli can't score runs. He may as well bat 8, not bowl, and sledge 15-year-olds, count dot balls, make him feel better about himself.
Right.
Yeah. He's the most talented political attack dog has ever been in Test cricket.
He's good.
That's where India are at the moment. I smell a pumping.
Because India, the last few years, they've lost almost every first game of the series before going on to win. That happened once in Australia. They got off at 36. Now we'll still win that series with our fucking C team.
Kohli went home.
Kohli went home. See you later, boys. So they typically grow into a series. Now they probably would have won the first game. Very strong favourites to win that game. They've come from nowhere to win the second game, and now it's could be pretty flat.
Now the middle manager from fucking LexisNexis is coming in with his beard and stuff to bat 3. Can he do something?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So there's still no Leach, no Bess in this squad. Leach is on standby for Mo and Alex. Mo and Alex are obviously going to play.
But they sent Leach back because he's been in these bubbles for so long and not got a game.
Yeah. It makes sense. You just, I don't know, it doesn't bode well for future test tours come out for the England team or even this test series alone. So I just got a note here, Ashwin's speaking on his YouTube. He's speaking in Tamil apparently, but he said that Virat choreographed the team getting into the long room there at Lords. We spoke about this before, where Shami and Bumrah have just come in from the 89 run partnership, and Virat's choreographed it also. There's a photo opportunity of the entire fucking Indian setup. It's not just the players. There's analysts and stuff in the room just absolutely hooting and hollering.
Mate, Kohli's their comms manager.
He's got a few jobs. So don't throw runs. He's not getting any sleep.
He reminds me of Ronaldo at the
week.
Euros off the field and telling guys to take penalties. Now you take one. Show personality. You can do it. You know.
Yeah. Do you remember the final in the Euros when Ronaldo went off injured and then he just basically became the coach?
Yeah. I swear on the Sky Sports coverage last week, you could hear Kohli from the balcony. They must have had some sound. You could also hear some other toffs there going they won't last long. These guys before Bumrah and Shami score runs. I swear you could hear Kohli getting involved, just yelling over the balcony. He's the guy, at a great game as well. Edge ball for 4. Yeah.
So England, no chance.
Well, I think England. Look, Yeah, I think they're all at sea. You know, I think the floodgates could open. I think there could be some big runs, but I don't know what the wicket's like. You know, and Joe Root has the hot hand. He's got the Steve Smith hand at the moment, and you know how could you bet against him as well? It's just
500s this year, 5 Test hundreds this year.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So it's just that now everyone sees, I mean, everyone's seen for a long time how much they rely on Root, but now that he's scoring so many runs and he's converting those 60s and stuff into hundreds, it almost puts a bigger spotlight on just how much they rely on him. I mean, he'd have to be the hottest wicket going round.
I feel like England's bowlers are always like steady, but you can't, like the last game, Anderson was like so important for them, not just in a wicket sense, though he did get his like 7th, 5th wicket haul at Lords or whatever. Just his defensive bowling where he was still like tying it down. Now Curran came on in the first innings, I think it was in the second game, and he didn't bowl badly, but it was just a little bit loose, easy to score for a little bit, and then Anderson has to come back into the attack to just even tie it down. So he still feels like a huge part of this team as well. It's obviously to say, of course, he's got 600 and whatever the fuck Test wickets, so he's obviously going to be important. But it still feels like without Broad there as well, there's a little bit of vulnerability. And now Mark Wood, who bowled so quickly and took big wickets in the third innings of the game against India, now with him being sort of probably unlikely, now it's like, hey, now you got a debutant, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look like a team that's going to win a Test match. You look at 1 to 11, it's like, is that going to win a Test match? I'm not sure. I think no.
Good approach from Ashwin to get a game as well.
Yep.
Start talking up coach.
Yep.
You know, he's choreographing everything.
Yeah.
So
Good if you can get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the 100 pairs.
We'll be live streaming that.
And talking about all those things and more on YouTube. If you want to get around that, and we in turn will get around you. Now the 100 pairs. Now we're going to speak to. Well, we've got a few irons in the fire here to speak to someone. We just don't know who just yet, as we're recording this a little bit earlier than what that is going to be. That's going to be done. But we want to get a sort of UK perspective of what the 100 competition has been. But obviously the Southern Brave won the final there at Lords the other day, Saturday, and the Oval Invincibles won the game earlier in the morning. But it feels like from afar that is by a distance the most successful domestic short-form cricket competition that I've seen in England in maybe my lifetime. It feels like it has been enormously successful. Of course, we're not there to experience all of the implications of it for better or worse, but it feels like that was a great competition that's only going to get better next year. And you think about the players that didn't go to it this year, or the overseas players who missed it, that could have been, hopefully that'll be next year when that happens, but it just feels like that's going to be a great fixture in the calendar for the ECB in years to come.
So you're paid by the 100.
That's right.
Mate, I agree. I mean, I think they've put enough money behind it, and it was on free-to-air TV, and I think that's pretty much like 90% of the whole thing.
As for this year, when it sort of came into our consciousness of it, maybe even a year ago, just thinking like, it just feels like it's going to bang. I always thought it was going to be good. And then like as it got closer, everyone was like, well, what about the county championship? Yeah.
It was interesting I think from our perspective, like there's not much we can add other than how we've experienced the BBL.
Of course,
then the chats that we had leading into it. I mean, as we've said so many times, that like it gets its context from Test cricket in so many ways. The way you experience it is meant to be as letting it wash over you and having good players, blue team versus yellow team, or popcorn versus corn chips. And so it's hard when it's 3 a.m. our time to actually experience it like that, or to make much comment on it. But it seems to be that like a lot of the journalists who are commenting on it are saying, well, you can't deny that it seemed like a lot of fun for people and that it achieved a lot of ends. It's not without its problems, etc. I note that like I ended up warming to Birmingham Phoenix a fair bit, led by Moeen, local boy. He did it with humility. Liam Livingston did really well for them. Saw someone write he could be the most famous cricketer in England given how much time he spent on free-to-air recently.
Liam Livingston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to stop with trying to make cricket commentators cool, for everyone's sake, including the commentators, in my view. And I don't think you can argue that it won't get better. But as we've said before, you need to take a holistic view of these things and see how it impacts other areas, People are looking out for that as well. I noticed there was an erroneous tweet from the 100 the other day from somebody taking a screenshot, I think, of might have been...
Livingston.
Was it?
Yeah, it was
I thought it was Hales and Rashid Khan, and it said, I think the Trent Rockets had just gone out, and it said something to the effect of heartbreak, and now when you've got nothing else to do till next year.
Yeah.
know, and people
Yeah.
were upset that it was like,
Yeah.
well, there's other games on and stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to find it, you can. You
Yeah.
know, if you want to see it, you can. I thought it was insensitive because Rashid Khan's entire country is being destroyed at the moment. He's got some other things on, but I was wrong about that.
No, they're talking about the Vitality Blast. Yeah. I often get those two confused. Yeah, mate, you're right. It's an interesting one because I know like Zach Crawley and Sibley obviously got dropped from the Test squad, and then like they were saying like, I suppose it's a classic thing of like go back and score runs in the county championship, then you'll come back. But the county championship doesn't resume until August 30, which is a week from today, so it's next Monday. Now I understand that. And we've had similar conversations in Australia over the last couple of years with the Big Bash and the interruption of like the Sheffield Shield season, and it's like now there's basically 2 seasons of the Sheffield Shield. It's like the yearly bash off that you have until December, then the Big Bash starts, and then there's this whole Big Bash season. Then whatever the fuck after like February, or whatever.
Some other shit when footy's starting. Other days playing well. Who's doing on time
and
trials?
so if you get dropped from the Test team, you go back into Big Bash form. You can't score any runs. We even spoke about this maybe about Kawaja semi-recently, I think it was, when it's like he's got to go play for the Thunder, and it's like how's he supposed to get back into the Test setup? I'm not sure. I think maybe our mentality has to change around like these players' professionalism and like, because I was thinking as well, because Moeen Ali got brought back into the Phoenix. He was released from the squad to go and play in this final for the Phoenix at Lords. And I feel like there's still this kind of conception around like, oh, the T20 stuff, the 100, you know, it's still a bit of like hit and giggle. It's a bit of slap and giggle, but like the professionalism, the skills of these guys that you see exhibited every single game is actually, well, I suppose it's slightly different in the sense of a Test cricket, but like it's like when you're watching the 100. Oh, it's cricket. Like it's still cricket. Like I still feel like there's this perception of short form cricket from older audiences, perhaps even myself included, being like, oh, it's just a bit of a give it a whack, go out there and give it a whack, and that's not really translatable to Test match cricket. But I don't think that's true. I think there's just cricketers just playing cricket. Cricketers playing cricket. That's what the 100. That's what next year's slogan should be for the 100. Come and watch the 100. It's cricketers playing cricket. I am paid by the 100.
To those who are saying that it's not cricketers and they're not playing cricket, well, you're wrong. It actually is cricketers, just playing cricket.
Do they know things? Let's find out. It's the longer form of that. All right, well, in this segment right now, we're going to throw to someone who knows more things than us, who's in the UK. And if you don't hear something, it's because they've all given us a couple of blue bombers and they've all left us on scene. So, yeah, here's that. All right, Pez, the Ashes. The Ashes / Australia. I feel like the Ashes just this thing is forever in our minds because Australia just don't play anymore.
The Ashes / Australia.
And when they do, it's not on TV. Okay, more stuff that has stayed around about Justin Langer, and there's been more articles, there's been more conversations. I don't know where to start with this other than like Payne talking on his own SEN show, which is radio here in Australia, down in Hobart. Hobart? Yeah, Hobart. Saying that he, Finch and Cummins, the leaders of the Australian teams, white ball and red ball, all had a Zoom with Langer, and they're going to get around him, and I presume he in turn will get around them.
You know, symbiotic circle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Chanting each other's names. Children, future.
That Lionel Hutz imagining life without lawyers.
Yeah. That's right. So now it's all sorted again, mate. And just one more beep test, and I reckon we're going to win this Ashes 5-0.
Again, yeah.
So I guess that's sorted again, eh?
Yeah, people are saying, well, it's sorted. They had a chat about it.
They had a chat,
And it's good. They're good to go.
Haven't they chatted about this before? Like 5 or 6 times?
So it seems. What else do you say?
I don't know.
There's a lot of political forces at play at the moment that are really curious.
Yeah.
That you mentioned that meeting that the leaders had with Langer. There was a meeting just before that, like an hours before that, with Cricket Australia between like Hockley, Eddings, and the 3 captains.
Okay.
And
Right.
when you listen to a lot of the listen to a lot of the journos on that day, on the Thursday, it had the air of like that like the coup was on, that was a spill against Lang. It just there's certain journos and stuff who seem to be sort of swaying with the breeze, going, maybe his time's up, maybe Langer's time's up. And that kind of coincided with Matthew Hayden going on SEN and just fucking giving it both barrels.
Yeah, Doss.
Made Doss walk down the deck, pump it back over the top.
Yeah. It's True Blue playing in the background?
I think so. They should have had that as a background. But it was really interesting because the players, I think, thought that convo was going to go really differently. You know, there was an air of there was spill in the air, and then in the hours leading up to that meeting, Hockley and Cricket Australia released a statement saying Langer's got another 6 months. We're going to see him through, and the players didn't know that was going to happen. They were sort of blindsided. So what was Tim Payne going to say after that? It had already been decided that Lang was being kept.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to bomb him on air, is he? Yeah. Like.
Well, unless he was going to say, no, I disagree with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, so what I don't really know. I don't know why CA have done that.
Yeah. Mate, I got these two things in my head. First of all, it feels like this guy's the only guy that can possibly coach the team. There's no other possible scenarios around this. And second of all, like, it's just even the denying that, like, it's all good, like, sorry, the argument put forward that everything's all good now, we're all fixed, we're all good to go, continually, like, every, like, few weeks it seems now, especially, which is even stranger when the team's not even playing. But it's just so obvious that, like, just the players don't want to play for the guy anymore. And, like, the relationship is literally over. And that it doesn't need to be about, like, oh, players are soft, generational divide of, like, oh, players need to be tougher, older guys need to understand what's Langer like as a bloke. All of that is, like, kind of irrelevant. It's only about what are the literal, like, analytics of the performance of the team, and do the players want to play in that environment anymore? And it's like, you're not going to change the entire playing group. This is all playing power that you see in so many different sports. And it's like, what's the point anymore? We just have to pretend. We have to pretend like they're all going to get along. It's all going to be good, and this guy's going to get the best out of the players. I just don't see how that's possible anymore.
The player power chat is really interesting because I've noted a lot of, like, contemporaries of Langer, even guys a little bit older than him, sort of bemoan the growth in player power with the IPL. And I know Mark Taylor described them as sole traders who can sort of pick and choose when they play and whatever. But that kind of is a bit mind-boggling to me because to me the truth is that the players have usually been in power in Australian cricket, save for maybe Bob Simpson coming in as coach with Alan Border, who was a reluctant captain. Most of the time the players do run it. Yeah. Langer as sort of AFL coach at the top of the tree is the aberration.
Yeah.
Like
it's also a cricket coach.
Yeah, and it just seems like that CA have kind of prioritised him and seen him as more important than the views of the players.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
People can say what they like about the merits of the player's view that they hate it. There's not much argument anymore.
No.
That they hate it. That
Yeah.
They could have ended that. They didn't, you
Yes.
know. So it doesn't matter about the merits of the players there. You can
No.
decry the players generationally. You can stereotype them if you want.
Right.
But it's still true. It's a relationship and a dynamic between two groups that doesn't need fault attributed to it anymore.
No.
It's not as though this is a new relationship where it's teething. It is 3 years down the track. The results are there for all to see. The results are there whether good players are available or not. You know, the results are slightly better when good players are there, but they still lose more often than not. You know, do what you always did, get what you always got. That's fine. But I don't understand these arguments that if they just have another chat.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's been in a relationship where that's no good. It's done.
They're going to break up.
You know, they're going to break up. And, like, can I say something in fairness to Justin Langer? Like, Langer has never been anything other than what he said he was. Like, nobody survives like him. You know, I'm sure for him this is like, you know, every barb is a bouncer to be ducked and every sledge is saved in the memory bank for later, and whoever sledges him is going to die. And he's building another heroic innings. This is another Everest. That's how he thinks, you know. Fair play to him. He's built a great career and a great brand out of that.
Yes.
Does it translate to coaching? People are going to have different views about that. And those who buy into Langer seem to believe that those qualities that served him so well as a player translate to the same as a coach, but they're two different things, and the results bear that out. I don't understand, and I think it's worth exploring why Cricket Australia have so vociferously backed him over the players.
Yeah.
I don't see him as being more important than the players, but Perhaps they do.
And I'm sure the players don't either. And that's what I was kind of saying about like the cricket coach thing about, now in my experience, obviously playing 0 test matches, Sam. I don't know what it's like in the professional realm.
No, you do, because you watch Amazon's The Test, and a lot of those chats seem like fucking third grade.
That's true.
I gotta
that's
say.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
The role of the cricket coach, in my experience, in my eyes anyway, is to facilitate a healthy environment where the best players get the best out of themselves and they get the absolute utmost out of them. Now, in my viewing, like Langer is trying to put into his terms, like what he got the best out of himself, he did it his way. And he's like trying to work that with this current group of players, and it ain't working, and the players don't like it. But he's not a footy coach, you know, like the football, rugby, AFL managerial style. It doesn't work with cricket. That's not the right thing. I feel like the role of the cricket coach in that sense is to give the best information to the players and just create a great environment. I mean, he's getting compared to like Mourinho or like Andy Flower or other like sort of polarizing, very successful coaches, but that's exactly the point, that these guys are extremely successful and they won heaps of shit. And like, we just haven't had that.
Yeah, but the thing, like, there's plenty of ways to skin a cat. Heaps of coaches have different styles. I think you would say with Langer, like, if his approach was resulting in victories, this conversation isn't happening.
Yeah,
you can
that's
talk
true.
about leaks and whatever,
Yeah.
all you like. Leaks happen for a reason too.
Yeah.
Like, if he wins, no problem. Let's crack on. We're like, mate, you're a legend. And he is a legend of Australian cricket, by the way. But like, and he should be protected
won't
for
change.
that. It shouldn't change.
No.
But how Cricket Australia have let this get to the 8th round of the fight,
Mate, exactly,
you know,
yeah.
is now reflecting upon their stewardship of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just done. Is there a world where this gets fixed? Like with Alex Ferguson, you know, in the late 80s, they wanted him gone, you know, after a few years. There was a big sign saying, you know, ta-ra, Fergie, 3 years of shit or whatever, we want you out. He wins that game, and the rest is history. Is that going to happen with Justin Langer? Is it? I just don't see that.
It's difficult to see.
It is it's difficult to see them sort of get through these next few kind of tournaments or series or whatever, come out the other side and everything be great, and like, you know what? I was wrong about that, says the players. I mean, leopards don't change their spots. I don't know how many more cliches we can put into this, but it's apt, you know, given the people we're talking about.
All right. Well, on top of that, the Australian T20 has been announced. And there's a couple of bolters in there, no more so than Nathan Ellis, who's had a remarkable sort of rise to fame's not the right word. He's just signed a contract with the Punjab Kings 11 for the IPL. Incredible. He's obviously just played the one T20 game, got a hat-trick on debut. Then he missed the next game, then played the game after that. But he is in the touring party. There's 3 travelling reserves, Nathan Ellis, Dan Christian, and another person. Good research from me. But you know, it is you know, maybe perhaps in fairness to Justin Langer, like you look at the teams that you look at the name, you look at the names in the team, in that squad, and it's like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good team. They'll probably finish between 4th and 5th. Smith, Warner, Maxwell, they're all there.
Christo's a great get around the boys selection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Travelling reserve,
Yeah.
glorified net bowler.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, you don't need a hit, mate. You just bowl me a few. But that means he obviously was popular on tour.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. Not surprising.
Josh Inglis's inclusion is interesting. You
Yeah.
know, he seems to be the anointed one. I wonder if he's going to bypass Alex Carey.
Yeah, so Carey's
Everyone's
not in that squad. It's only a 15-man squad.
But everyone's sort of saying with Inglis, like, he could be the next cab keeping wise. He has all the toys, great gloveman. His batting is very much in form as well. I was going to say he's from WA, but that wouldn't be fair, to be honest. He seems to be a great player.
He's had a bumper season in the UK, and he was doing so well in the 100 as well. He's also been picked up from that. But it's exciting. It's exciting to have that name in the team sheet, because he's been anointed for a little while, it feels like. And he's probably jumped ahead of Carey, who was available for these 2 series, West Indies and Bangladesh, and just hasn't quite taken his chance, you would say. Despite him having like a really great 50-over white ball 2019 World Cup. But apart from that, probably
his
hasn't got a bunch on
ODI
the board.
form's been exemplary, Alex Carey. So I hope he can push on Carey, and I hope he's yeah.
There's another guy that people were suggesting that he missed out was Tim David, who plays for the Hobart Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And he's played in the 100 as well. He's actually playing for the Southern Brave, who obviously won the 100, born in Singapore.
And he just got picked up by RCB.
That's right.
So good enough for RCB. Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing to get upset about, player you didn't know 3 weeks ago.
No.
Oh, why isn't he in there?
Exactly.
Tim David. JL. Once again.
All right. So where's Australia going to finish in the World Cup?
Oh, mate, you know, they have a side that you just wonder in a particular environment how far they could go. I don't know. I suppose they're probably, in terms of on paper squads, they're probably third or fourth, and they'll probably finish around then if they do well, if not a little bit underneath that. That'd be my prediction.
It feels very 2019 World Cup again. It was like, well, I'll make a semi-final.
Yeah,
and that's probably good enough.
Probably do enough, yeah.
Yeah. All right, West Indies, Pakistan, second test match. That is going on as we speak, so difficult to give too much analysis over that. But Pakistan was sent into bat by the West Indies for the second time in 2 tests. Started the game 3 for 2 after 4 overs. Kemar Roach doing the business. And then they made it to 302
Good decision.
for 9. Declared. Farwad Alam, 124, and Babar Azam, 75. Farwad Alam, Pez, now you remember this, obviously. He got 100 in debut, then he got dropped after 3 tests. Since then, well, he averages 56 in first-class cricket, but since then he's had a number of years averaging over 60 in first-class cricket. He's now come back into that test team, and he's got 508 tests. Is he the best batsman in the world?
The best batters in the world. The best batters in the world, to come back to that, is AB de Villiers is the best batsman in the world
Currently.
Yep, and Steve Smith and Virat Kohli are about equal. And then I don't give a fuck after that.
You can't be best batsman in the world if you're not playing Test cricket.
No, you can in my book.
So, but AB de Villiers only plays in the IPL.
Yeah, that's right. It's controversial, isn't it?
I guess it is.
Okay, let me use a different word. He's the best stick.
I guess he's literally a batsman.
What
do you do? I'm a batsman.
Stick. He's the best stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh yeah, if you put him in Test cricket right now, it wouldn't go right. Yeah, scoring. That's fine. I'm just talking about just pound for pound sticks.
Okay.
It's
pound for pound sticks.
Pound for pound sticks.
Yep.
It's AB de Villiers, and then it's Smith Kohli. Kohli is Kohli's more alpha bat than Steve Smith in terms of the way he gets it done.
Right.
But you just can't ignore the runs Smith gets.
Okay.
And then it's Williamson and Root. That's me. Just in terms of sticks.
Well,
results, I'll bring into a little bit. That into a little bit. But I'm just looking at sticks and guys holding sticks.
now people like Babar Azam.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I'm not having it. You can't like him.
No, I got a roped off section in the club and he ain't in it.
Exactly.
Okay, and it's not his fault. It's the same as Williamson. There's a lot of geopolitical forces at play there.
Yeah.
Unfair.
But I think Kane has to go up because he won the lollipop. He won the big lollipop.
Okay, he can come in.
I think he has to be in.
Yeah, he's in. Okay, he's in.
Babar Azam. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
It's good. But why does he have to be like...
Hipster.
Everyone's got to be the best. That's why I was saying with Farwad Alam, just like, if you're not the best, fuck off.
Babar Azam is like... people like Babar Azam, they want you to know that they know who Babar Azam is and that he's good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the press box
Yeah.
a few years ago, and I'm not going to name any names, but he played a wonderful off-drive.
Yeah.
We already named who this is.
Probably. Yeah.
And someone in the press box went, "Oh, Bubba." And it was a very passionate exclamation. And that was a good shot, to be fair.
It was.
But I think, you know.
It was a kind of exhale sigh that you hear through thin hotel walls.
I like at the start you said it's very hard to analyse this match just because we don't want to.
There's that as well.
Hey, Babar Azam's probably good. You know,
He's
it
good
reflects on our bias as well.
Well, Farwad Alam is better at the moment.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's all I'm saying. All right, Pez, we're going to speak to Cole Jamieson in a moment's time, but a couple of other bits of information. Chris Cairns, thankfully, is off life support now. He suffered a severe heart attack, I think it was, a couple of weeks ago. But he's now off life support. He's able to communicate with his family, which is obviously fantastic news. And the second thing I want to raise, Pez, is this Yorkshire investigation to systemic racism at the club. They found that Azim Rafiq was subject to, and I quote, inappropriate behaviour, which feels extremely light on.
Oh, historically, the victim of inappropriate behaviour as well. So,
right.
So Rafiq said in response to this statement that Yorkshire delivered, I'm uncomfortable with several aspects of Yorkshire's statement. For a start, I'd like to know which allegations have been upheld and which have not. So that was one thing in the statement. Or some of it was upheld, some of it wasn't. Some of it a bit too hard. Terming what went on as inappropriate behaviour doesn't sit right with me either. It was racist behaviour. They should say so. I'm also uncomfortable with the narrative that these are historic allegations. Most of them concern people who are not just still at the club but in positions of power. There has to be accountability. It seems to me that while everyone who was in that room in August 2018, remains in positions of responsibility at the club, it will be hard to take their words seriously. For that reason, I feel the positions of the chief executive, the director of cricket, and the inclusivity and diversity manager are untenable.
All right, here he is, Kyle Jamieson.
Okay, this bloke is just about at the top of international cricket, and he's only turned out 21 times at the level. In tests, he has 46 wickets at 14. He has a World Test Championship to his name, and in that final, he was player of the match. And he has one pretty good player in his back pocket, who will remain nameless. It's no surprise then he is at RCB around some pretty good players, some of which were very understandably keen to train with him ahead of that fateful game in Southampton, if reports are to be believed. I don't know if I believe them. It's a big worldie with us today. It's Kyle Jamieson. Jamo, welcome to the Grade Cricketer Podcast.
Hey, boys. Thanks for having me.
Jamo.
Too kind.
Kind of you, I think. Jamo, everywhere you go in cricket, you dominate. How easy is international cricket?
I'm not sure I can answer that. Probably I've only had a very small share of games, and they've been on relatively green seamers most of the time. So, I've been pretty fortunate. The first 12, 18 months have been in bowler-friendly conditions, I think.
That's a very modest answer, but I guess that's we come to expect that from Kiwi brethren. We're going to ask about the modesty a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, Jamo. It's probably well documented anyway that you sort of grew up as a batsman, but you went to Auckland Grammar, where I believe Jimmy Neesham and Lockie Ferguson were a couple of years above you. First and foremost, I mean, how good was that schoolboy team at rugby? I mean,
At rugby, yeah, they were pretty good. I was actually I never quite managed to crack that. That would have been the first goal to play rugby and play for the All Blacks. But had to settle for cricket really.
Yeah. So how strong was the first 11 schoolboy? I presume you were in the firsts at school.
Yeah, they were all right. Lockie and Jimmy were a fair bit older than me.
Okay.
But yeah, they were sort of legends at school. Like I was like third form and they were 6th, 7th form, so they were kind of the big dogs of the school rule and the roost. And Jimmy especially, I think Jimmy still got that attitude today. So they were pretty good.
So I mean, you played mostly as a bat at school, all the way basically up until like the 19s World Cup, right? And now people like Dale Hadley, like Richard's older brother, are saying that you were better than Sir Richard Hadley at the same age. I mean, who was the first person to say, like, mate, maybe just try some seam up?
Yeah, it was Dale. I think most cricketers tend to bowl and then go to batting. It's a little bit easier on the body. I went the other way, which was maybe not the smartest move, but I think probably my batting wasn't gonna get me anywhere really. And luckily he told me that I should probably try and run in, and it's sort of panned out all right for now.
It's gone all right. Yeah, I believe if you get 4 wickets in your next test, that'll be 50 test wickets in 9 games. I think Shane Bond is the fastest Kiwi to 50 wickets. He did it in 12. I mean, is that a stat which is more just for cricket nerds who like to solve Rubik's cubes in between the drinks break, or does that actually mean like quite a big? Is that quite a big deal to you?
Yeah, I didn't actually know that. That'd be pretty cool. Obviously Bondi is a phenomenal bowler. When he was playing, and gets to be in that sort of category, you're pretty lucky. But like I said, boys, I think I've been pretty fortunate. I've played 8 tests and have been in all sort of bowler-friendly conditions, so maybe in the next 4 over in India might not be as easy.
Hey, there must be nothing better than not knowing you're approaching a record as well. Like, that's the best way to answer that. So let's talk about the final, Kyle. 7 for 61. There's a great cameo with the bat as well. You've got Rohit, Pant, Pujara, and one other guy twice. You're the player of the match. Like, given New Zealand's history in cricket, ever the bridesmaid, never the bride, a bit of an afterthought in the big 3 of world cricket. Like, can you paint the picture of the sheds after the win? I'm imagining Kane and Ross are there. Maybe they've got some damp eyes reflecting on those who've come before, staring at the mace, reflecting deeply. Or was it just beers and crowded house?
Bit of both, really. I think, I think one led to the other. But, I think certainly for those guys that have been around for a while and had played 2015, that final there, and then 2019 as well, and had come so close, I think, it was a pretty emotional dressing room. I think for someone like me, I hadn't sort of gone through the emotions of those games, so I was sort of just riding the high and just happy days. But for those guys, I think it was a little bit more sentimental. But quickly followed by crowded house and a few beers.
I know, like in the World Cup in 2019, I think Rihanna was in the West Indies dressing room after the game, and there must have been some disappointment that he couldn't celebrate it, with Lord or something like that.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool, actually. Yeah, it was pretty quiet. Like, you only had the boys, which was nice in a way, but yeah, we had no real celebrity appearances aside from a couple of partners and just the coaching staff. So it was all good.
What about we heard last week from Simon Dool that you guys did a haka on the pitch at the Rose, or the GS Bowl, whatever it's called now. Afterwards, I mean, surely given that the hotel faces the pitch down at Southampton there, surely the Indian team would have seen you guys doing the haka at like 1 a.m. or whatever.
It's a great rumour. I'm not sure whether I should deny that or not, but there's a reason why the cricket team doesn't do the haka, is because we're not very good at it. And no, we didn't actually do it that night. But we just I think we had our team song going, but I think probably with the voices of our change room, it probably did sound a bit more like a war cry than a song.
What's I mean, we just get pumped with like Under the Southern Cross I Stand here in Australia. Like, what's the Kiwi team song? As in, like, what's the general gist of it? Is it war? Is it peace? What are the themes at play in the Kiwi team song?
That's a good question. Well, it's more of a pledge than a song, so it's more just like shouting of words. Again, probably alludes to the war cry more so than a song. It's more around, I think, the team values more so than just random words about winning a game. So, it's along those sorts of lines.
Fair enough. I was hoping there that, like, as a new player, you didn't quite know the words to the song yet, which is quite common in like grade cricket or something. You just sort of shout a few kind of words here and there, see if it's close enough. But you obviously did know the words. So on the final, Jamo, you pick up Virat twice. You'd obviously be elated with that. Who wouldn't be? But he also has 146 million Instagram followers and a brand value closing in on the billions. So now that he's your bunny, and you can't deny that, is there any part of you that gets nervous about having him in your back pocket?
I think you guys, well, I don't know if you would have seen, but I think I woke up after, maybe about halfway through that test, and on my Instagram got absolutely bombed by abuse, which I wasn't aware of. I think I'd had about a couple hundred comments on a post, and then all of a sudden I had 3,000. So a lot of it was stuff I couldn't understand, but that's probably the downside to getting wickets at times.
Yeah,
you reply to every single one saying sorry, just get involved.
If it was in English, I might have, but I might have taken a bit too long.
I mean, in that World Cup final, you obviously get the mace, and then you've now toured New Zealand with the mace. I've seen photos with Kane et al. Around. I mean, how have you been part of that tour as well?
No, I missed that, unfortunately. I was still in the UK. Had a little county stint with Surrey, so I was watching that from our quarantine facility, which was a great way to pass the time and actually want to be out of my hotel room. But yeah, it looked like a pretty cool week for the boys.
No doubt. You speak about your time in England there, Kyle. Like you would have been keeping an eye on England versus India, the Test series, and in the last game we saw the Indian juggernaut reach full steam basically once sledging started. Like when you guys outplayed them in the final. And you did. Like, was there any talk about how you'd compete with them before the game? So, we saw them step up once Payne got into Ashwin in our summer, and they stepped up again once Anderson kicked off with them. Does it just show that, like, nice guys really do finish first?
Not sure about that. I just don't think we're not quick-witted enough to play into the hands of that. I think we try and stick to what we know. Obviously, we've seen a couple of times now where you sort of give a bit of stick and they sort of fire up and they come back. So, I think we'll just stick to just trying to play our game and see where that leaves us.
I've been looking at the schedule, Kyle, for the Kiwi summer ahead. You've got a bunch of white ball games, but I don't think there's any Test matches announced just yet. I mean, is there any frustration? On the team's behalf that, you still don't seem to be getting those like big blockbuster games. Like I'm thinking as an Australian fan, for instance, it'd be so cool for Australia to go over there to play against the World Test Championship winning team. And at the moment, it still feels a little bit like, just give the Kiwis like some 2 Test series here and there.
Yeah, it is a little bit like that. We've certainly commented on it after seeing the new schedule come out. Like, yeah, we would love to play 3-match series, 4 or 5-match series, and play more Test cricket around the world. But it seems to be the way at the moment that we sort of get a 2-match series here and there, and that's just kind of what we get. But yeah, we love Test cricket. I think for a lot of the guys, Test cricket's the pinnacle, and if we could play some more series and play against the Aussies more, or India or England, whoever it may be, we'd love to do that.
Well, like, what do you think it says that Aussies, while we, and I'll speak for the whole nation,
Please.
We acknowledge New Zealand's success, maybe even a little bit proud of it. Maybe there's even a blueprint there for us. Like, we don't even know the name of your coach, for example. But maybe deep down, Kyle, like we mightn't really rate you until you beat us, the 4th place team in the world. Like, does that matter to you, or as world number 1 team, like, do you have bigger fish to fry than Australia?
I think there's probably an attitude that's going to be there for a long period of time. I think that's just New Zealand and Australia, isn't it? That's like the history over time. And I think there is, like, you can't deny there is a bit of a hurdle there for us to overcome at some stage. Aussie cricket have been, regardless of the ranking system, have been one of the top teams in the world for for as long as I can remember. So yeah, sure, we'd love to continue to play them more and try and have some have a little bit more success than what we've had over the last wee while. And I think that's just going to be a normal Anzac attitude, isn't it? We're always going to be the little brother.
That's right.
And not so much with rugby.
Maybe not the rugby. Yeah, we'll keep the Bledisloe locked up for another 18, 20 years, something like that.
Have you got any Justin Langer angry stories? No. Kyle, I want to ask you, you're obviously heading back to the IPL, and I know a bunch of you guys who are going back there, the Kiwis, are missing the Pakistan, New Zealand T20 series in the lead-up because you're going to go play the IPL. There's a bit of a discussion here around, club over country. Of course, it's not as simple as that, but like, what were the discussions with sort of New Zealand cricket, allowing you, inverted commas, to go and play the IPL before the World Cup ahead of the Pakistan series?
Yeah, New Zealand cricket's got a bit of a welfare policy around guys being away from home for, I think, 60 days is a sort of like the roundabout number. Okay. So if you were going to the World Cup and then carrying on potentially for the India series, then you weren't going to be available for the Bangladesh, Pakistan. Like they just weren't going to pick you. So the IPL was kind of like, yep, you're available, but it's your choice if you want to go. And then, obviously to go and play in that tournament, to have a month of cricket over there, you can't really turn that down. And it'd be cool to link back up with those guys and see DC again. And it'll be good fun.
Oh, so he still has a contract. Okay. So another reason you go to the IPL is because you've got an awesome contract. But like, can I, which you should do, but. What are you expecting when you link back up with the RCB boys? Like, especially, I don't mean to like labour the point on Virat, but just all of the guys, especially the Indian guys. I mean, RCB's in a good position in terms of the competition, but now that you've got Virat out a couple of times, like, do you expect you'll be sort of welcomed more into his stable now? Like, he's going to have a kind of mafioso respect for you because you've slain the beast.
I don't know. It might depend how the series against England ends up. I think if they win that, they'll come back all happy and it'll be all good. But if it doesn't go that way, then I might be a little bit more annoyed. But it'll be good. Like, it's nice to have, once you've had 6-7 weeks there, it certainly makes it a lot easier going back into a group. Having known guys and all that. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be. Oh, look, I'm looking forward to going back and giving them a bit of stick. That's for sure.
You probably wouldn't have caught this because you're actually literally playing in the game. But in the World Test Championship final, there was a lot of talk on commentary about this story that has since been removed from the internet and scrubbed entirely about Virat coming up to you and saying, maybe just have a bowl with me at the Dukes. I think DC Dan Christian was in the interview as well. Maybe sprinkle a bit of mayo on top of that, a little bit of GST tax on it. But what did Virat say to you after the World Test Championship final?
We didn't really talk about that rumour a huge amount. But we just spoke about the game, and he actually gave me a couple of nice compliments, which was cool. And just I think, like, I guess aside from the game, yes, like, you're two teams competing, but we're also friends and mates, and we're going out there to do our best and whatever the result may be. So it wasn't a huge amount of talk around the game. Obviously, they're still there, and they're going to be there for another few months, and then obviously linking back up. So yeah, nice to share the field with those guys again.
And do you have anything you'd like to say to those who commented on Instagram after you got veroed out a few times? You've got an opportunity to speak to them now. Anything you want to say to them?
No, I haven't got anything to say. If I had my medal next to me, I'd just hang that in the screen. But I'm not sure whether it is, and I'm not sure how well that would go down. Maybe I'd still get cop some more. So no, I'll leave that one.
Okay, what about the current New Zealand fast bowlers? Trent, Tim Southey, yourself, Wagner, Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson, Adam Milne. Does New Zealand have the best fast bowling depth in world cricket at the moment? Keep in mind, anything you say will be wrong.
I think you did right. Yeah, I think anything I do say will be wrong, but I think certainly from New Zealand's perspective, like it's one of probably the greatest depth we've had in fast bowling, for as long as I can remember, maybe ever. Like you said, there's so many names there. Like there's so much competition for spots now across all formats that you've really got to be on top of your game. And I think certainly up there in terms of the other teams. But I mean, again, you put into conditions and different situations, like I think you're never going to be right or wrong about that sort of stuff because there's so many different opinions about it.
Kyle, thanks so much for joining us once again.
Diplomatic.
No, I know. Thanks so much for joining us again, mate. You really didn't need to after what happened last time. That basically actually, you didn't join us last time because that interview doesn't exist anymore. We were just mates chatting and now it's private on YouTube. Thanks so much. Wishing you all the best for the rest of the IPL to go and in all the test matches you're going to play. We'd love to see you out here going up against our boys as well. So if you are in charge of the World Test Championship Future Tours program, just listen to this and change it. Cheers, Kyle.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
All right, Pez, we need to thank the wonderful people at Budgie Smuggler for making all of this possible. All of it is possible. BudgieSmuggler.com. Use the code CHAMP for free custom design. Save yourself about 50 squid. About $100. Remember when the currency rate, the exchange rate, the Australian dollar was like 30 cents to the pound. Halcyon days.
I used to watch that kind of stuff on morning breakfast in quite a Rubik's Cube fashion.
Yeah. How old were you?
12, 13.
Yeah,
I had a
okay.
very, very...
diverse portfolio.
It's funny. I never actually took that step, but no, I had a pretty set routine for getting up in the morning. I actually remember once at school we were asked to give an impromptu speech, and I described my morning routine with passion. Anyway,
Okay.
Just
How'd you go?
I can't remember, but I remember enjoying it. So
Right.
I get up at 6 a.m. and then looking back, just a couple of alarm bells should have gone off really.
Yeah.
But I used to remember. I think David Koch was doing the finance stuff, and I'd always watch out for Australia's dollar value in relation to the US, and I never knew what all odds or anything like that was. I still don't, to be honest. But
also recently, the Australian dollar was slightly more than the US dollar.
Yeah, that
under
always
Obama.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So,
but when that happens, you don't necessarily feel great. Like it feels good on the surface. You're like, oh, something's wrong. Something's wrong. You want to sit around the late 60s, early 70s.
Isn't that like kind of information where you're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, late 70s. Yeah, it was 77 cents.
Pez, today, Pez, we're going to do today of what you might be able to put on your custom design.
Yeah.
Your custom budgies.
Yes.
Budgiesmuggler.com.au, if that's your want. Famous coups.
I remember when I was at first year uni doing a government class, and I had never read the word, and I read in this government class in front of our professor or teacher was a very senior bureaucrat in Australian government, or had been or something. Everything he said was like, this is awesome. He knows everything.
Yep.
And I was doing a presentation, and I said coup d'etat.
Yep.
And he just very, very gently corrected me, and that was extremely embarrassing.
Sure.
And I've always remembered that. I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Is
So
it coup d'etat?
Favorite coup d'etats.
I was talking about the Fijian one with Frank Bainimarama. That's all I remember. I probably said Bainarama or something like that as well, reading it.
And Fred.
Well, obviously you got Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It was one of the
great
best.
Go that saying.
Yeah.
What about the assassination of JFK? That was a coup d'etat.
Still ongoing. Suppose. Francisco Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going Frank.
Obviously, when the leftist coalition won Spanish elections in 1936.
36, that was, yeah.
He was packed off to a remote post in the Canary Islands.
He was in the Canary Islands. That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Muhammad al-Gaddafi.
Yeah, Gaddafi, yeah.
Sucky with Gaddafi.
Mm-hmm.
Idi Amin. Mm-hmm. He rose through the military ranks to become Uganda's top general.
Okay, I always thought it was Idi Amin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
It was actually, did you know, he was actually originally a close ally of President Milton Obote. So he led the country to independence from Britain in 1967.
Yeah. Well, it sort of spread on for a few years after the
67,
yeah. It was ongoing. That was ongoing.
No, it wasn't.
What's weird is actually that you're not even reading this. That's incredible.
Oh, of course. Pinochet.
Yep.
Pinochet himself was a career military officer, named head of the Chilean army around the same time as he joined the CIA-backed coup plot against the man who had promoted him, President Salvador Allende.
Yeah.
And on September 11, 1973, the Chilean Navy took over the port city of Valparaiso while tanks and troops advanced on the presidential palace in downtown Santiago.
Santiago.
You can't say Aaron Williams there. So,
in downtown MJ Bale. What?
Budgiesmuggler.com.
Use the code CHAMP for free custom design. Okay, Pez, hashtag AskTGC. Just going to get off Wikipedia for Coop de Tats. Jamie Giddens writes in, Higo and Pezzy lad, I write to you to ask about a recent conversation I had with my 90-year-old grandmother. For context, I'm a very amateur cricketer who bowls medium pace, slow, and takes guard on leg stump, scared of the ball. Last weekend, I went to see my granny fresh off 90-odd, 88, in my last man stands cricket league. Having not seen her in a few months, but excited by this unexpected score, I was keen to delve into the details of the innings, the cover drives, edges, the reverse sweeps, as if. After I had waxed lyrical about my much improved pull shot, my aggressive running between the wicket, and my watertight defence, she paused and took a breath. What was she going to ask? Who would I model my defence on? Whether I'd been hitting the gym in order to improve my running between the wickets? No, she was having none of it. How are the accounting exams going, dear? My question is, am I being outfitted by my granny? Is she aware that an LMS half-century is as useful as a one-armed bricklayer in Baghdad? Why do I seek validation from a woman who has never shown any interest in my sporting career? Am I still haunted from the one time she came to watch me and I was run out for 0? Or is she just aware that a job and qualification is more important than cricket? Love and wickets. Jamie Giddens, spin doctors captain and ACA qualified.
It's almost as bad as yours in cricket.
Yeah, yours in cricket. Yuck.
How can you be?
Love and wickets. I like that. That's funny.
Yours in cricket.
Yeah.
I suppose we are that for a lot of people. Not just us. Like,
what do you replace in cricket for in like the real world? Yours in.
I mean, you say yours faithfully, yours in good faith. You know, yours sincerely, yours faithfully.
But you're offering your mind and body to the person. I'm yours. Up for possession.
In cricket.
Yes. So
outside the cricket world.
No, we don't own it.
You don't.
So we own Jamie in cricket.
Well, he said love.
Oh, he said love and wickets.
Love and wickets.
Yeah.
Wishing you nothing but love and wickets. Well, you are being outfitted by your granny, Jamie.
Yeah.
And as you're describing whatever you are to her, which goes on and on and on, she is thinking, wow, this kid is wasting his time. And he needs a job. And that's how, with a lot of older people, you get respect.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They understand. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about, except to know that it doesn't matter. And they know that it's frivolous and trivial.
That's right, because her last man stands, you know what that was? World War II.
I'll tell you about it. Fucking last man stands, Jamie.
When they blew the whistle to go over the Chechens.
Yeah, and that was the guy I really loved before I met your fucking grandfather.
Colin? Fucking hell.
That's why she hates Last Man Stand so vociferously.
Yeah.
He says about Last Man Stand, she thought you were about to talk about fucking the song.
That's right.
Fuck. That's World War I. Yeah, it's World War I.
I don't know. All I know is that England won the 1966 World Cup. Okay.
Well, yeah, as well as 2 world wars.
That's right.
I remember, mate, I was about to go to overseas with
be
my
nice.
fiance, and I called my grandmother, who I love dearly, wonderful
So
person.
just be very careful what you say next. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she like, you know, she likes to, like, she's a very social person.
Right, yeah.
And she was with her friend. She's very proud of her grand. She's got lots of kids. She has 7 kids, big Catholic family,
wow.
lots of grandkids.
Right, yeah.
Which I'm one. And she's very proud of everybody. Greatest PR person of all time, and it's really lovely and endearing. And but she's never really had any clue about what I do.
But yeah.
Yeah. And that's fine. She's so supportive.
Sure.
And she's with her friends there. She puts her friend Jeanette on the phone. Oh, Jeanette's here. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jeanette.
Oh,
yeah,
Jeanette.
how are you?
Yeah.
They're old birds.
That's
they're
a
old,
great name,
They're
Jeanette.
they're old ducks.
Yeah,
you know.
a couple of old ducks.
Jeanette has Jeanette has eye issues, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like this, but they still hang out. They're great. They got more like spirit and soul than, you know, any of us.
Jeanette, the best a man can get.
So okay, and then so Jeanette's sort of talking to Jeanette. Yeah, great. You go, Jeanette. Yeah, I'm well. Yeah, no, Tori's well. Great. They're so lovely.
Right.
And you're off to the UK. Fantastic. And then my grandma's back on the phone. I have a great time, darling. And then I said, okay, yep, see you later, bye. And I don't know why I didn't hang up the phone. But my grandmother, as is always the alpha way in any relationship, if you're the alpha, you don't hang it up. You just wait for the other person to, right?
Yeah.
That's what we call it. So she didn't hang up. I didn't hang up. And I don't know why I'm still listening. And she turns to Jeanette and she goes, that was Sam. He's a solicitor. And I just like... At no stage have I ever told my grandmother that I'm that or anything like that.
No.
The point is relevant to Jamie is that she clearly felt the need, having had that conversation with me and Jeanette or whatever, that she was preempting that she was about to be asked what I do.
Right.
And she just went for, he's a solicitor.
Yeah.
Nothing of the sort. But she had to put that forward because I think for a lot of people of that generation, you know, your job is what defines you.
Mate, absolutely. That's been my experience in my own life as well. Like, it's definitely not true. But there's certainly like fields of work which are defined as being like good jobs. What's a good job? A good job is something that you enjoy and like you can buy some stuff on the weekends, right? That's what I think a good job is. But
You're
like
doing good things for people too.
Nah, not for me, that stuff.
That's right.
And like, it's just so, I think in like the older generations identify like good jobs like a solicitor or a doctor or whatever as being like, oh, that's a good job.
Yeah. You put a suit on, I recognise that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
good.
Yeah. And it's just not true. Well, it's not in my experience anyway.
It's kind of like playing ones,
Yeah.
you know? I've seen your name in the paper.
It's the same as that.
Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, let's just do one more.
Lewis Atkins. I haven't read this, but I like what this is. Lewis Atkins, the title of this is The Ballad of Ian, Higgins, Esquire. The Ballad of Ian Higgins, Esquire. Hello, dear boys. I ask that you address the following with the utmost urgency. You've placed this second for me to write. I was listening to your most recent AskTGC Fridays today when Mr. Higginbottom disclosed his personal discomfort with his first name. It is a subject that I myself have pondered for some time and with increasing intensity during Sydney's multi-month lockdown. This guy's name's Lewis Atkins. I recall an earlier episode of TGC Fridays where Mr. Higgins spoke of being mistaken for Sam. I must confess this is an error I myself was guilty of for some time, as Ian seems so incongruous for the man. While Mr. Perry carries Samuel upon his rounded shoulders and a broad dome with aplomb, Mr. Higginthorpe does not bear his own name with the same surety. It is fundamentally inharmonious, and I am certain it must have affected his cricket, and of course, all that so entails. Have his parents, whom we now know have discarded the name themselves, ever explained the situation? Did Higgindown Sr. think of naming him Greg, but sensing even before his birth that the talent of such a namesake could not be met by his progeny, later sought to adjust the family's expectations? Has Higginstall Jr. ever woken in the night in chills, though surrounded by warm air, to inquire, Dad, why did you name me this way? Only to receive no word back? Now, apparently this inverted commas, Brie, who may be a romantic partner, but I will assume, for the sake of convenience, is anthropomorphic homemade cheese, does address him as Ian, though it sounds as if this may be the result of some misguided sense of duty, or even, inverted commas, love. I am, however, confident that I have found a solution. Mr. Higgenberg is not one of those wretchedly poor souls for whom no name could apply. Dare I say, I think he would make an adequate Sam, if I may place you in the same category. Should he be a Jake? Comfortable enough. Perhaps Charlie, with the good-spirited niggle it implies. No, it is clear that our own little Higgenrow is in fact a Luke. Carrying with it the strong implication of private schooling, it sits neatly atop the salad and tugs snugly into the rig. There is no need to thank me, Luke. Just let me know. Should I get outside more? Yours sincerest, the Titanic. P.S. My knee still hurts.
What the fuck? Fucking hell. Lockdown.
I hadn't read that.
Lockdown does things to a man or woman.
That's really funny.
It's
about your name.
Yeah, it's about my name.
Sort of stuff we get up to on AskTGC Fridays.
Yeah. Did my dad think of naming me Greg? Greg's my dad's name. So
we know people who do that.
That's good gear. Jake is my brother-in-law's name. Sam is you.
Yep.
And Charlie is what I did on the weekend. No. And I don't know a Luke. So Luke it is. Luke it is.
Say that. Yeah.
You can say me as Luke.
Luke Higgins.
Doesn't Luke have a? Is that a religious name?
Luke is a character from the Bible.
It's a character from the Bible.
One of the disciples.
Fictional bit of work.
And one of the 4 books of the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Ah, yes, of course.
Luke Perry.
Yes, you'd be right. Luke Perry.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, Perry, and John.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Enjoy. I've enjoyed that. And I can't talk anymore. All right. Thank you to Kyle Jamieson. Thank you to you, Sam Perry. Thank you to you listening and watching out there on the internet. We'll see you in the live stream Wednesday evening, our time, Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon around the world, wherever you are. Ball 1, YouTube, live stream. See you then.